several...
Can we start? I got to start again. Okay.
Sure.
And go.
So the print shop here is assembled from quite a few remnants of local or semi-local print shops. There was a couple months ago, a building in Utica was being torn down, and this was what was left in the print shop was several cases of type that has still has a bit of a grime on it, but these are from probably the late 1800s, and some of them have not seen ink for over 100 years. And then we have other types that, again, if I can open one up and find the right thing, these collections of wood types. So each particular size is one font, and and we can actually tell who made the type. There's a maker's mark on the capital A in the wood type. So this is from the Hamilton wood type manufacturer in Wisconsin, which is now a printing museum. And so each one of these cases is basically almost like your drop menu on your computer, work menu. So each one has a font in it, and then you select the font of it. And then we would lock them up. We don't have a form right now, but we have large blocks that are sort of pre-made forms. So hand setting takes a lot of work. A block, we can just sort of lock it up into the press. There, it's pretty solid. I could actually print with that right now. So all of this stuff over here, these are also fonts. So we have very large. Here's a Cooper Black V.
There you go. I knew the Cooper Black was coming out.
So this whole case right here, this shelf is all various letters of that Cooper Black font. So you can only fit very small words on the press because the press is only this big. But this is kind of a really great tool. So these were made for proofing in a newspaper or commercial printer. So they would just pull one proof to make sure it looked good, and then they put them on the automatic presses. The thing is, these are so well built that now these are super desirable by people who want to set up their own print shop. So these are essentially hand-operated presses, but you can crank out 1,000 prints, and you get kind of bored of it after 100, but you can crank out 1,000 if you needed to. Also part of the collection we have these blocks all have a 2-letter code on them, and these are all commercial products. The Shinolo is, I guess, particularly. So here we have royalty, just so RO for royalty, and FI Fitches. And so these are just basically logos, mechanical pens. So logos or sort of categories of things that would be in a department store.
So how long did it take you to read proficiently backwards? Because I feel like in this job, that's something you got to be able to do fast.
Yeah, so everything's backwards, but I think it's maybe a built-in dyslexia where I have trouble telling my left from my right when I'm driving. So this comes a little more naturally. I thought that said Coldplay, but it says Clopay. So again, it's sort of like just word association. But most of these things that we'll never actually see, they're actually used. There's multicolor blocks, so each color would have to be printed separately. The press would be cleaned up, and then the second color would be replaced, and the same paper run through again. So we have some blocks that are actually. This is a case where we have very few, because this is the remnants of a printing collection. This is actually 4 colors. Well, this one is repeating itself. So yeah. So okay, this one's repeating itself too. I think we have 2 of each of these colors. This 2 of each of these blocks. Here we go. So cyan, yellow, magenta, and black. So.
Also, it's the cyan magenta thing. It's not RGB.
Well, no, it actually is. It's more spot colors. This just happens to those colors just happen to be close to see them. Like, hey, which is what all offset printing for 4 color would be made up of those 4 colors. So this we could print them any color, but to print this in 4 colors would probably take a couple days to basically run the first color. If you want the ink to dry, then run the second color. So if you're in a hurry, this maybe isn't the best process. I sometimes describe letterpress printing as the slow food movement of printing. There's much quicker ways to do this digitally, offset, but letterpress, you kind of have to slow things down, and especially if you're hand setting type. And we have I can show you the smallest type we have.
Well, yeah.
Oh, here it is. This is 4-point century italic. So 4-point would be 1/3 the size of the default type on. I don't know if you
Oh
can
my God.
actually get in there.
You know what? Through the power of modern technology.
Wow. So that's a W. I couldn't see that with my.
I think, or an H. Is that an H?
Oh wait. Oh, it is an H. I don't know why I was seeing W. I can't even see. So yeah, there's an H, and I need some manicure.
You're looking good, man. In better shape than mine.
Now I have to figure out where it came from, and since these aren't labeled,
Close enough. Close enough
yeah,
for TV.
I'm gonna put it in this corner so somebody else can put it back another time. But I've used this type once, and it's yeah, it's not for the faint of heart to use the small stuff. So instead of using 4-point, you might use something a little more like this is 60-point type, which is, so here's an H that's a little more manageable.
A little bit.
So for doing, we do a Christmas card every year, actually a New Year's card.
Nice.
And so we've done some job printing for other people, but most of what we do is printing for our own needs. So it's, in some ways, it's a private shop. We're not a community center like the Flower City Center where people can come in and be a member. If somebody asks us nicely, of course they can come in here. But this, being our business, I can show you some of the things we've done with these. Obviously, this is a 2-color. This is kind of good because it shows off. This was our commemorative piece we printed for arriving in Rochester as our office. So the background was actually cut from a linoleum block. Jim Greisaber, who's a partner in P22, he's lived in Rochester most of his life, and he basically whipped this together with individual ornaments. None of them are 4-point, some of them are 8-point, some of them are 12-point, but each individual piece was hand set. And then the background was basically cut away and printed first, and then the second color with the metal type was printed a day later.
Wow. And you got to hand carve the linoleum?
Yeah, and again, this is the kind of thing where any art supply store sells linoleum blocks. So that is essentially, it's relief printmaking, but it's also letterpress printing.
Cool. Can you show me one of the books in there? Let's see what we got.
Sure. So in terms of like, it's hard to pick out your favorite, but so this is one of my favorites. It's a specimen book from the Caslon Foundry of England, from London. And it has book plates in it, which I actually, John DePaul was a famous wood engraver. The Lanston Monotype Machine Company owned this book, and then now that we own it, I put a P22 book plate in there, which I don't usually do in these old books, but this is very good company to be in.
Yes.
So again, the specimen books will basically just show what you can do with the type, and actually usually show really good examples of how to actually lay out, and basically it's a catalog of what they offer. So, and in some cases, people would actually, for mechanical art, they would basically go to old specimen books and take an X-Acto knife and cut them out.
Oh, they literally took it out.
In pre-scanner days, yeah, this was, so you'll find a lot of specimen books where somebody decided they really liked the printer's fist, and they decided to take that to a copy machine, and so the book got cut up. But yeah, so these